Good afternoon. It's Thursday, 10th of June. I'm back in the reading nook with a nice hot cup of tea. Ordinary tea this time, and parcel. Which is just arrived. So literally, this is about as timely as you could get. So what have we got in here? Slice. So first off, well, slightly crushed because of the other thing in here. You know, not interested in that. Our cats are interested in that. You're not. I appreciate that. So what we've got in here is Zweihander, revised core rulebook from the Grim and Perilous RPG, originally published by Grim and Perilous and now published by McMeel Publishing. It's a 2018 ENnie's Gold Award winning role-playing game for Best Game and Product of the Year. So, and I edited this back in 2016. Yeah, 2016. All of this in about 6 to 8 weeks. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I didn't get a lot done except this at the time. So the question is, why the hell have I ordered a copy of a role-playing game I worked on, and I already have a copy of Zweihander from Amazon? Well, one, it was cheap. Two, my friend Neve said, "Oh, it's cheap. I don't know whether I should buy one because I only think it will sit on the shelf." And three, she decided not to buy one, so I'm buying one for her birthday. So it's inexpensive right now on Amazon. That's Zweihander. Now, Zweihander is let me just see. Welcome to a Grim and Perilous Gaming. Winner of the ENnie Gold Best Game and Product of the Year at Gen Con 2018, featured on Forbes.com, ranked as one of the best-selling fantasy role-playing games at Drive-Thru RPG, and having moved over 90,000 copies worldwide. Zweihander Grim and Perilous RPG is a bloodier, grimmer and grittier version of classic tabletop role-playing games. This revised version is published in celebration with McMeel Publishing, and features a refreshed layout, new artwork, rules and clarifications, colour plates by Dijan, Mandic and Errata. Zweihander Grim and Perilous RPG is a fantasy role-playing game where the adventurers will live in a gritty, realistic fantasy world, make morally grey decisions and enact vicious reprisals, uncover insidious plots of political intrigue, take part in heart-pumping chase scenes, venture into the wilderness and survive its perils, desperately fight in clandestine and open-field combat, defend themselves from injuries, madness and mutations, and encounter sanity blasting creatures and their minions. Using the powered by Zweihander D100 game engine, you will create grim characters, write perilous adventures, and build your own low fantasy and dark fantasy campaigns. These rules are a perfect fit for Renaissance and medieval style adventures too. You can use this book to create your own homebrewed worlds, whether inspired by the works of Andrzej Sapkowski's The Witcher, George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones, Glenn Cook's Black Company, Mike Cole's The Armoured Saint, Robert E. Howard's Solomon Kane, Scott Lynch's Gentleman Bastard series, or other grim, dark inspired media. This all-in-one game includes most of what you need to play, character creation guide, game mastery rules, and the best way to bring the creatures both fair and foul. All that's left are a few friends, pencils, and a handful of dice. So that's the blurb. So this weighs quite a lot. I do know how much it weighs because I took it onto around New York with me. So there are photographs of me with this in the Natural History Museum, or Museum of Natural History in New York, in front of dinosaur skeletons because and atop the Empire State Building and all over the place, because essentially I just basically Zweihander had only just about to come out, and I took Zweihander on tour in New York, much to the amusement of the author and the team behind it, because it's basically Daniel D. Fox. So we open up, okay, and as you can see, it's big. It's really quite big. There's essentially there's a lengthy list of contents. So roughly, so look, about 3.5 pages of contents before we get into what we've got here. And so see, basically it's quite a handful of the book. You see just some basically just really lovely pieces of artwork. These are really fantastic pieces of artwork, whether to your taste or not. And the style echoes that of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and that's the point, because essentially Zweihander is a retro clone of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 1st edition. It's another great piece of artwork, and it's designed to emulate that role-playing game. So this actually came out before the 4th edition, and it would have been, it would have come a bit soon. But basically, it trumped it a little bit. It has to be said at the time, not taking away from 4th edition's success, or indeed the success of Zweihander either. Just saying, basically, that was its effect at the time, yeah, basically we just got just more and more great artwork in here. So you can take this and you could easily run all of that old school, I say original 1st edition Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay with this with relatively ease, and even probably 2nd edition as well if you wanted to, because it would have the same tone, and you would find that a lot of cases essentially you could take this and run, for example, the Enemy Within campaign in its original form. There are changes to the new campaign throughout. So there's so much to look at in here, and we just layout is clean and tidy. The artwork is just terrific. It's absolutely, if you like that Warhammer artwork from the past, then you'll love the look of this. So the ancestry's got human, dwarf, elf, halfling, a gnome. Yeah, because whether or not you want to have an argument whether or not there are gnomes in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and it's a contentious debate, one I've never entered into, but it is there. You don't need to argue about the point. There are gnomes. I mean, you can run this however you want and go, oh, no gnomes in my game, but there are gnomes. And also offers ogres as an option. And then the other thing it does is it takes the career structure of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. And the fantastic thing about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is that career structure, where you start off, as a commoner or a socialite or a ranger, and you've got a basic career. So here we've got basic starting points of the commoner and the knave, and you've got a table there of the starting careers. You just either pick one or choose that, and then from each of those you'll have branching choices as the player character progresses, and essentially each career is the equivalent of a level. Once you've taken all of the content, all of the options on that level, and it's not just a case of what that reflects. I mean, you'll have the character's history, which will be reflected in their adventures, but you'll also have the sort of the career progression as well to support that. Okay, so we've got everything about the character to create. Hair colour, height, weight, it's all in here. Complexion, if you want to use that sort of thing. Eye colour, I remember those being in probably sort of like the extra information that came with the screen in the original Warhammer, but it's all here. In essence, all of that information, you would have to track if you wanted to use it. You didn't have to, but it added to the flavour and the feel. You would then get to roll on those tables. But again, you have to go and track down another supplement. Unless you could you've got it here. And again, there's a lovely bit, just the classic bit of kind of setup. Brave adventurers wanted, and that's the Zweihander. interpretation of it, right down to the cat, and you know that almost goes back to the start of ENnie Within campaign, with the note that brave adventurers wanted come here, and of course by the time the player characters get there, the expedition has already left, and they're involved in another mission. So we have tables upon tables of professions in here because it's a Warhammer clone. So we've got antiquarian, the apothecary, and the bookworm is as an ability for the antiquarian. So there's more options here than perhaps you might have got in the original book. And these are all just listed. You're just going through. I mean, let's just check from adherent all the way down to basically Warlock. So here we go, Warlock. That section there is the is just the professions, loads and loads of them, and the players can wander in and out of them essentially as the story dictates and where they want to go. And then again, loads of elements of basic descriptions of the skills, and basically just it's nice clean layout. Just the artwork is fantastic. I keep going back to the artwork because I've not really looked at this in a while, but it's fantastic just to look at. It's just some terrific artwork that really again, I keep saying this, come back to it, gets the feel of the old world right. I mean, that scene, basically player characters up against Ratkin in a dungeon is so Warhammery. You couldn't have anything. You probably couldn't have anything more Warhammery if you tried. But I mean, the point is that despite, the artwork is there to capture that feel, but there's nothing to stop you as the referee, GM, taking these mechanics and applying them to similar style settings as suggested in the on the back of the book. So extensive grimoire of spells, for a variety of different types of magic, so on and so on. So much in this book because it's so big. And of course, obviously, I'm never going to review this because I can't, because that would be, but obviously unprofessional of me. Plus, it'll take me a while to read it. I've got too many books to read already. So yeah, sections on world building. So basically, just creating elements. The setting that you've got some nice ideas in here, some campaign seeds, so like the 30 Years War, and then there's a direct reference to the enemy within, enemy without, and again, essentially it's still going back to that each time. And that's fine, because it's absolutely fine in you acknowledging inspiration. We've got tables of demons, just quite dark and foreboding creatures they are too. Quite an extensive. I mean, that's what we've got. Bestiary is. forgotten just how big here we go. So you've got a spot book that size. That's the bestiary. So you've got quite a lengthy section of monsters which you might encounter. And at last we've got a rural adventure, bitter harvest. Yeah, and then I can remember just working on this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and making the deadline with 10 minutes to spare. Seriously, it was 10 minutes to spare. It was a Wednesday. I got the last thing off. It was about 475,000 words total, and I stood up and I wobbled on my feet because I was that tired. I'd worked so hard to try and get this done, and I wish I'd had more time on it, but that was the situation it was in. They came, Daniel D. Fox came to me and asked me to help, but yeah, and I was glad to work on that because ultimately this got me to Gen Con in 2017, which was fantastic. Basically Gen Con for my 50th birthday, on its 50th year, and I met lots of friends and people whom I still miss today. I want to go back at some point, and I will. In the meantime, or they can come over here, that'd be great. Get to see what we're like in a way. This is Zweihander. If you are looking for fairly crunchy emulation of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition, then this. But it's adaptable. So you can do, as I said, you can create your own grimdark settings and adjust as necessary. But yeah, this is basically a big slab of a role-playing game and has everything you need to play. Really, it does. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this unboxing, then please do click the like button down below. If you've got any comments or feedback, do take the time to respond and read them, and thank you very much for posting them and asking. And lastly, of course, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, please do click that subscribe button, and I'll be back here with another parcel, another cup of tea, and 10 minutes of your time just talking about stuff. And lastly, Neve, I hope you enjoy your copy of Zweihander Grim and Perilous RPG, and that it looks fantastic just taking up space on your shelf. Thanks for watching. I'll be back again with another unboxing in the Nook very soon. Bye for now.